Growing up in the universe partly means evolving from simple to complicated, inefficient to efficient, brainless to brainy. But it also means growing out of parochial and superstitious views of the universe, growing up to a proper scientific understanding of the universe based upon evidence, public argument, rather than authority or tradition or private revelation. Growing up means trying to understand how the universe works, not copping out with supernatural ideas that only seem to explain things but actually explain nothing. Well, you might say, can we really afford to be snooty about the supernatural? After all, many of us have probably had uncanny experiences that sound like telepathy. We perhaps dreamt about somebody whom we hadn't thought of for years, and then the very next day we had a letter from them, and we think, what an amazing coincidence. There must be something supernatural. It seems so spooky. That's a supernatural explanation. What would a natural explanation of an event like that be? Well, what we've got to do is to come to a proper assessment of how likely it would have been that this could have happened anyway by sheer luck. And there are ways of doing that, and we can run a very simple experiment here on a very small scale. We're going to do it by tossing pennies. It may be that somewhere in this audience is somebody who is psychic and is capable of willing a penny to come down heads or tails. And what we've got to do is to identify that psychic individual. So Bryson is going to toss a penny, and I'm going to ask everybody on this side of the... We'll forget about the gallery because I can't see them up there. Everybody on this side of me here is to will it to come down heads. Really think of it coming down heads. Try to make it come down heads. We'll try to see whether the psychic individual is that side. Or on this side, everybody should will it to come down tails. Okay, so off we go.
Tails.
Tails, right. So if we've got a psychic individual, it must be on this side. Right. Now, would everybody on this side then please stand up? We're going to try to do this by elimination. Now, everybody on this side of the aisle, will it to become heads? Everybody on this side of the aisle, will it to come down tails?
Heads.
Heads. Sit down, please. Stay standing up. Now, it's got a bit of a problem here. Let's say everyone from behind the row that was holding up the ancestral portraits should will it to come down heads, and everyone from the ancestral portraits downwards, tails.
Tails.
Right, the back rows then sit down, please. Right, now we're narrowing it down. How many tosses have we done? 3. Right. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say the back 2 rows of those standing will it to be heads, and the remainder tails.
Tails.
Back 2 rows sit down, please. Right, now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll make it simple. The back row heads and the front 2 rows tails.
Tails.
Back row sit down. Right, back row heads, front row tails.
Tails.
Tails. Now, right, let's say that from Coca-Cola to the left, heads, and the other one tails.
Heads.
Heads. Down, please. No, Coca-Cola stand. Oh, right. Right. Heads, tails.
Heads.
Heads. Right. Well done. How many tosses was that? I don't know how many tosses that was, but congratulations. Let us suppose that it was 8. It was it? Right. Now, what's your name? Who got it?
Me.
Yes. Donny. Yes. Well, Donny. Now, the question is he psychic? He managed to get it right 8 times in a row, and that's pretty impressive. But, of course, there's absolutely no evidence whatever that he's psychic. He did indeed think about heads and tails, and it did come down the right way. But if you think about how we set the experiment up with successive divisions, he could have thought about ham and eggs and it would have given the same result. It had to come out, because of the number of people here, it had to come out that somebody was apparently psychic. Now, we've only got a few hundred people in this room, but if we could do this with 1 million people or 2 million people, we could have gone on tossing pennies for a very long time, and at the end of that time, we'd have got a very impressive result. Now, when people write into the papers with uncanny experiences, it's just like that, because the circulation of a tabloid newspaper is up in the million, and if only one of them has to write in, then you can see exactly what happens. There's got to be somebody out there having an uncanny experience at this very moment, and it means absolutely nothing. So don't, whenever you hear a story about uncanny, spooky, telepathic experiences, think about this experiment and think about how likely it would be to come about anyway. Put your trust in the scientific method. Put your faith in the scientific method.